So do you see my screen?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, this is the load chart for the 60-ton link belt. If you see right up here at the top, it tells you to read everything and understand before you operate the crane. Now, we're going to go through the operational instructions. So, a lot of people see these two pages right here. They're
Yeah.
just going to scroll down and they're going to start looking at this stuff here. It's real important to know all of this stuff here because it's going to tell you about your crane. So I'm just going to start off and we'll just read over everything. So general rating lifting capacities in pounds as shown on lift charts pertain to this crane originally manufactured and normally equipped. Modifications for this crane are optional in equipment and other specified can result in a reduction in capacity. So if you put anything else on this crane, any extra stuff, it's going to reduce your capacity of what you can lift. And we'll scroll down. This is some basic stuff with that. So the setup, the crane shall be leveled on a firm supporting surface depending on the nature of the supporting surface. It may be necessary to have a structural supports under the outrigger battoons or tires to spread the load to a larger bearing surface. So that's your crane pads. So they're saying just don't put the battoons down on the concrete or the dirt. You always want to have those pads down. When making lift on outriggers, all tires must be free of supporting surface. All outrigger beams must be extended to the same length, fully retracted, intermediate, or fully extended. And you want to keep the crane. So when you're coming up with the crane, you want to make sure those tires are free about 1 inch of the ground. So when you get out of your crane and you check everything, you want to see a section of it is now you might only have one side that's off the ground 1 inch, but as long as they're clear of the ground, then you got that 1 inch. If not, you have to use the separate chart on rubbers and you're not going to have much lifting capacity. When making lift on tires, we already covered that. When operating on tires, do not exceed 70-degree maximum boom angle. Loss of backward stability will occur, causing a tipping condition because you don't have those outriggers out. So when you lift that boom up, you're going straight back. And pay attention to this one right here. This is a test question that will most likely be on the test. It's
Okay.
it's probably going to be there. That one I had on the test, and that's what I remember. So maybe you'll get that too.
So what the question is asking, like, what degree do you not exceed so you don't tip the crane?
Yes. So when you're
Okay.
booming up and you're on the tires, if you go past that 76 and you get to 77, 78, it's going backwards,
That's
straight
with,
back
and you said that's without the outriggers down.
without the outriggers down. I think, and we'll go to that, you might be able to boom up to 78 or 79 with the outriggers down. So no outriggers down, just on tires. Don't go, you'll go over at 76.
Who the fuck would ever put the boom at that high with no outriggers down anyways?
Somebody that's not reading this chart.
All right.
Rating lifting capacities. So we'll go straight down and then back up. Okay. Rated lifting capacities at rated shall not exceed. Do not tip the crane to determine allowable loads. For concrete bucket operation, weight of the bucket and the load shall not exceed 80% of the crane's capacity. So let's see. Do not tip the crane. So when you're going to test the crane, like, oh, if I can make this lift, some operators will be like, they'll pick up the load and see how it feels. You don't want to do that. You want to go to your chart. You don't want to see if an outrigger comes up or if you feel that you want to, if you're going to tip. You're already going to know what the crane can do, and you're not going to do that dumb shit. For boom lengths that are not listed, use rating for next longer boom length or next shorter boom length, whichever is smaller. So with that, when you get a load chart, you'll have pay attention to that. Next longer boom length. So if it's say 86 foot of boom, you want to go with 90 foot of boom because that's going to give you a smaller chart. So you go with the most conservative chart, is basically what that's saying. For load radius not listed, use the rating for the next larger radius, like what I just told you. So use the user shall operate at a reduced rating to allow for adverse job conditions such as soft or uneven ground, out of level conditions, wide side loads, premium action, jerking or sudden stopping of the loads, hazardous conditions, experience of personnel traveling with loads, electrical wires, side loading, or boom fly extremely dangerous. So when you're jerking the load and the crane's bouncing, you could be on soft ground and that ground is going to come down a little bit. So that's going to take you out of level or jerking with the crane. Like if you're dropping a load down and you stop, it's going to put a little shock on the crane and that's going to take you a little out of level, and now you're not within that chart reading that you were when you were perfectly set up when you first set the crane up. So check your level throughout the day. When making lifts with the auxiliary head machinery, the effective length of the boom increases by 2 feet. And if you have any questions, just go ahead and stop me, or I'm just going to keep going, all right?
What was the one you just read kind of confused me.
Okay, so the auxiliary head, that is the extra piece that's about it's about 2 feet. So you have your head of the boom of the
Is it the
crane,
rooster shift?
rooster ship. You could call it that too. So that's the rooster ship. So you're gonna add 2 feet when that's on there. And plus you'll make a deduction for 150 pounds
With the rooster shift?
with the rooster ship, but you're gonna call that the auxiliary head. Just
Okay.
remember it as the auxiliary head for the test.
Auxiliary head. Let me
I know
write that
that's what
down.
everybody calls it, but they're pretty much the same thing.
Rooster shift equals auxiliary head.
All right. Power sections of the boom must be extended in accordance with the boom mode A or boom mode B. In boom mode B, all power sections must be extended or retracted equally. I'm going to scroll down just so you can understand this. So you see the different configurations here.
Yeah, that
So
one's talking about like if you were to put it into half sections, right? You can configure the crane to put it in half sections, but you got to make sure that they all come out equally. You can't have like your third section longer than your second section.
exactly. So you make sure you follow this chart, otherwise it will be thrown off.
Okay.
Where were we? Power sections. The least stable rates working area on outriggers is over the side. So you've got your over the front where you can pick, over the rear. Those are your two strongest points. Your least point of stability is over the side. So when you're making a lift and you're going over the side, that's when you're most likely to tip the crane.
Yeah.
It's a 360 chart,
Yeah.
but you
You do.
can most likely
You,
to tip over the sides.
yeah, I was gonna say that's your weakest points.
Yep. You got the engine over the front. You got your counterweight to the rear. You're strongest over the rear. That's what you always want to do. Most your quadrant for picking is going to be over the rear if you want to stay
That's why
safe.
we back up to everything.
Exactly. This is smaller than my normal print, so I'm trying to read this best I can. Rating lifting capacities are based on correct reeving. Deduction must be made for excessive reeving. Any reeving over the minimum required, see wire rope strength, is considered excessive and must be accounted for when making these lifts. Use working range diagram to estimate the extra feet of rope and deduct 1 pound per extra foot of wire rope before attempting to lift the load. The load boom angle combined with the boom length give only the approximation of the operating radius. The boom angle before loading should be greater to account for the deflection. For main boom capacities, the loaded boom angle is reference only. For fly capacities, the load radius is reference only. For
And what
Clyde,
and Hold on.
Go
Any way you can dumb that down a little bit for me?
Okay, let's read it again. The loaded boom angle combined with the boom length. So basically, is what this is kind of saying is the more boom that you have out there, you're going to get the boom deflection. So it's going to bend with the weight of the load. Like when you're fishing, that rod, when you get a fish on, it's going to start to bend. So this is just telling you to compensate for boom deflection, which is going to increase your radius because now that boom is deflecting versus no
Okay.
load, it's straight up. Boom
Yeah.
deflection starts
Gives
curving
you
down.
like another what? Whatever. X amount of feet.
Exactly. For fly capacities with main boom less length less than 110 feet and greater than 85, the rated loads are determined by the boom angle using 110 feet of boom and fly chart. For angles not shown, use the next lower boom angle to determine the allowable capacity. We get lower down into the chart, I'll show you that you have your 85 and 110. That's pretty much all you can use for your flies and jibs and boom extensions.
Okay.
For fly capacities with main boom length less than 85 feet, the rated loads are determined by the boom angle only using the 85-foot boom and fly chart. For angles not shown, use the next boom angle to determine the capacity. Okay, so we got that down. The
Now
third, go
I
ahead.
have a question. Now, do they for the testing, do they have a section that's just load charts?
Yes.
Now, are they giving you a chart book to be able to have something to go off of, or this is all got to be math from your notebook and a fucking calculator?
Calculator, and you'll have the calculator on the screen, and you'll have a configuration that you got to go with, and you've got to have everything, you know,
So
is
they
right
do
there to
not give me
see.
like a cheat sheet in a sense, or like a load chart to reference.
Good question. So you're gonna have like you'll have all this right here, your wench performance, your here's your cheat sheet basically right here for your auto deductions.
Okay.
So we'll get down to that. So yeah,
And but that's stuff I'll be able to have with me during that
yes, it's
test.
on the computer screen for the test
Okay. Cool.
and your calculator for
Cool.
the test.
All
So
right.
everything is on the computer screen.
All right.
Where were we? Crane capacities on tires depend on the tire capacity condition of the tires and tire air pressure. On tire picks require lifting from the main boom head only. On a smooth and level surface, pick and carry operations are restricted to maximum speed of, I believe it's 2.5. Let's see, of a rating lifting capacities, the clamshell bucket operation weight of the bucket contents is restricted to the maximum weight of 7,000 pounds or 80% of lifting capacity. The next speed, or wait, I got to keep going down. My bad. So we were just there. Crank capacity on tires. No, we go back up. Okay. I was right here. Okay, 7,000 pounds or rated lifting capacity, whichever is less. For clamshell bucket, 55 feet, boom angle of 35, lifts. Okay, lifts with either fly erected or boom in mode A are prohibited for both clamshell and magnet operations.
What are clamshell and magnet operations?
Clamshell is like the big gripper. You're going to go down. I think you'll go into a lake
Oh,
or something and grab a pile
oh.
of mud. A
Okay.
magnet would be like picking up a car.
I used to with a barge that we used to use the claw.
There you go. So same thing.
Got it.
Crane capacities shown on fully extended or intermediate extended outriggers do not exceed 85% tipping loads. The crane capacities shown on fully retracted outriggers on tires do not exceed 75% of the loads as determined by SAA crane stability test. The crane capacities in the shaded areas above the bold lines are based on the structural strength or the hydraulic limitations. The crane capacities below the bold lines are based on stability. Some capacities are limited by a maximum obtainable 78 boom angle. So you don't want to go over that 78. And so on the load chart, so you'll have the top, and we'll go over this in a minute, just so you understand. So your structural chart and your stability. Your structural is basically you overlift that and put too much pressure on that boom, it's going to break and bust. You're going to have a lot of structural problems. Your hydraulics are going to give out. The crane can't handle it. Now, below that line is the stability. So that's what the crane's going to most likely tip over. Most accidents happen, structural components fail before the crane will tip.
Okay.
Let's see deductions, where we rated lift capacities, the weight of the hook blocks. Okay. Rated lifting capacities include the weight of the hook block, slings, bucket, magnet, auxiliary lifting devices. Their weights must be subtracted from the listed rating capacity to obtain the net load, which can be lifted. Also, see capacity deductions for auxiliary head, load handling, and equipment. Rated lifted cap Rated lifted capacities are for lift crane service only. Do not operate any radiate or boom lengths, minimum or maximum, where capacities are not listed. At these positions, the crane can overturn without any load on the hook or cause boom failure. The maximum loads, which can be telescoped, are not definable because of variation in loadings and crane maintenance, but is permissible to attempt retraction and extension within the limits of the applicable load rating chart. For the main boom capacities, when either the boom length or the radius or both are between values listed, proceed as follows. Okay, 2.5 miles an hour. The boom must be centered in front of the crane with two position travel swing locks engaged, and the load must be restricted from swinging. Lifts with fly erected on tires are prohibited. For correct tire pressure, see the tire inflation chart. So they're talking about a pick and carry. So when you're picking a load up and you're traveling with the load, and you'll have a couple guys with some taglines on there, because you can, on tires, pick a load up in front of you, like say an AC unit, and drive with it. You're going to have your swing lock locked, and you're going to move forward with the crane, and you can move with the load, is what they're saying. And you can't do that with the jib on, your
But
auxiliary
you
head, or
wouldn't do it with R cranes. If anything, you would do it with an RT mostly, right?
yes.
Okay. Because
With a mobile
I'm that
crane, I don't even want to do that.
I was gonna say the same thing. Like I wouldn't even fucking test that.
But you can do it if you are in a situation that you have to. RT, much easier.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here are some definitions that are going to be on the test. You need to know these definitions. Loaded radius, horizontal distance from the projection of the axis of rotation to the supporting surface before loading to the center of the vertical hoist line or tackle with load applied.
Don't get too far from here yet. I want to write these names down, but I won't obviously write the definition. Loaded boom
Okay.
angle. Boom
And
angle.
remember, you can always go back and reference this. It's on your load chart. On
Working
out.
area. Freely suspended load. Side load.
All right, got it?
Yes.
Okay, loaded boom angle, the angle between the boom base section and the horizontal after lifting the load at the radius. Working area, area measured in a circular arc about the center line of rotation as shown as the working area diagram. Freely suspended load, load hanging free with no direct external force applied except by the hoist line. Side load. Pay attention to this one. There's going to be a lot of questions on the test about side loading. Horizontal side load force applied to the lifted load either on the ground or the air. And that's you see in your cable. When you look up at the top, you'll see a twist in it. You know, guys aren't going to send you over the load and have you pick the load up and your line will be like this. Don't do that. That's how you get the structural damage, tear your crane apart. You have to see that. These guys on the ground, they're not going to tell you that. They're not going to care, be honest with you. So they'll try to get you to drag something that will cause side loading. Like, hey, just drag these trusses this way. Crane's not designed for that. You pick things up and down. That's it. No load stability limit. The stability limit radius is the radius beyond which point is not permitted to position the boom plus the load handling equipment. Crane may overturn without any load on the hook. All right, so let's keep scrolling down. So here's your boom mode A configurations, boom mode B configurations. Okay, and here's the next section on that. This is pretty, you understand all this, right? Boom mode A, boom mode
Yeah,
B. Okay,
yeah. And then for this one, your wire rope strength.
right,
Okay, yeah, for the second graph, that's just how many parts you have in the line. If we do a block, it's usually like a two-part line, and it can carry 25,000 pounds.
correct.
Okay,
And but above that is the wench performance. So
okay.
same thing like with what you just said. You got your wire rope, wire rope layer. So this is like your parts of line. So this is your available speed. So you have your low speed, which is your turtle, and your high speed, which is your rabbit on your crane. Pretty much most of the time, you want to run your crane always in low speed.
Yeah.
And this is your wench performance.
Shit,
So
if I
how
could have the option to use no throttle, I would.
why is that?
Just so I'm slower with it, in a sense. I mean, I have more control over it. As soon as I, throw the throttle on, it's like,
Yeah, but you're running a hydraulic crane that needs throttle to get those hydraulic pumps going. So when you're
yeah.
running with no throttle, you lose a little control. You can go slower, but you want to, when you have a little throttle on there, you keep those hydraulics pump
And they respond quicker.
respond better. Exactly. So here's your wench performance speeds. And I want you to pay special attention to this number 6. I'm going to just keep throughout me teaching you, I'm going to show you test questions that I know that are on here. So this is a test question. You have your 6. It's going to say, what's the maximum wench performance with 6 parts of line and you on low speed? And it's going to be right here,
You,
11,434
you mean wire rope layer? That's not parts of lines, right?
wire rope layer. Yeah.
So that means what? Is that how many strands are through that wire? What
This
is
has to do
or
with your parts of line. It's like the same thing from what I understand.
okay.
So 6 parts of line on there.
But
No,
that
sorry. It's your wraps of line. So you have when you get down to the what is I can't remember this. Wire rope layer.
I
So
got
you'll
you.
have 6 wraps on the so generally you don't want to get down to one wrap. When you get down, run down all your line, you're gonna have a wrap on the crane. You want to always keep at least 2 wraps on there. I like to keep 3 when you do all your line out. So this is what your available pounds are with that. So if you got 6 wraps, it's going to be up to 11,000. Once you you get, you know what I mean? All your line will be out, like on a fishing line, and you're down to the end of your line. So you'll have a one wrap on the crane, two, if all those wraps come off, the load's going to come back. It's going to, like a bird nest kind of, and you'll get that. So you want to keep your wraps on the crane, your wire rope, you want to keep some line on the crane. You don't want to run out all your rope. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Kind of.
Because six is like if you're fully like the crane hasn't even been set up yet. It's still connected to the freaking latch. But once you have 100 foot of stick out, now you're probably at like layer two or layer one, correct?
Correct. Once you get
Okay.
all your stick out and all the line down to the ground, and you'll have an indicator on the crane. It's going to say, "Hey, you're at your three wraps or your two wraps," and it's
Okay.
going to warn you. But you got to know, okay, well now I'm going to be in this weight limit.
I actually didn't know that. That's something I did learn. I didn't know the more wraps you have, the weaker it is in a sense.
Stronger. So stronger, less wraps you go down to the
Well, yeah,
weakest.
yeah, that's what. Well, hold on, hold on. Now I'm getting confused because on the graph it says if you have 6 layers of rope, your weight is not as big as you if you have one. You could pick up less weight with 6 wraps than it is if you had one.
Wire rope length. Man, I'm getting burned on this one. Let's go back
Is
to this.
okay. I'm gonna write that down.
Yeah, get that.
Winch performance. Go back. Winch
Drum
performance.
rope capacity, layers, total. Yeah, we'll go more in depth on this. I can explain this a little better. So,
Okay.
wire rope strength, parts of line. So, here's our parts of line. You can go up to 10 on that crane. So, you put your block on
Yep.
and you have 10 parts
Shivs
of
it's
line.
going through, yeah.
And you got your 3/4. Here's your size. So, you're using a 3/4.
Like the winch is a 3/4
Your
or the shiv.
the rope that you're using, the
Oh,
line is
oh,
three
okay.
quarter.
Okay.
And type, you need to know this too. Type is RB. So that's
Okay.
pretty much like regular right B. Notes, capacities shown are in pounds and working loads must not exceed the ratings on the capacity charts in the crane manual. Study operator's manual for wire rope inspection procedures. Use of swivel end with part 1 line is not recommended.
Hold on. What is R like when it says type is RB, like what does that
Type is-
even mean?
I believe that's like there's a like you come down here, type RB 1819, that's your construct of the wire rope, and rotation resistant. So that means it's not going to rotate. Extra improved plow steel performed regular lay. So regular right, regular lay. So that's pretty much what RB means. This is the breakdown of the definition, which I always remembered as regular lay slag. So this is the type of wire rope that has to be on your crane.
Okay.
So you got the 1819, that's the construct, rotation resistant, the steel, that's the type of metal it is, and the regular, and we'll go into the wire ropes. You have regular right lay, left lay, all kinds of different styles of wire rope. And this is the kind of rope that they want on the crane. You go with what the manufacturer wants on the crane. Okay, now we have our deductions. The more you memorize this right here, the faster you will be on the test. It's a time test. You don't have enough time. I never have enough time. And
Two
so,
hours at least?
what's that?
Is it 2 hours at least or one?
90 minutes.
An hour and a
So
half.
about an hour and a half. You got
All right.
That's the core. And this one for the written's a little shorter. I think it's an hour. So you got about an hour and
Okay, the core exam is asking me questions about the crane, I assume, and load charts. What is a written?
general knowledge pretty much is the core. And the written is the load charts, your
Okay.
site. You got to know your site preparation. You got to know your technical knowledge. And there's one other one on there, like operations. Operations. So there's four sections to the written exam. Load charts is just one section of it,
Okay.
and are so many questions. Memorize this the best you can. Know all this on here. You got your 60 ton. So here's our auxiliary head. You got the 150-pound deduction. And on this crane, we have a 60-ton block and a 40-ton block. So there's going to be questions. It's going to ask you sometimes, do you have your 40 ton? Now we have our 60-ton block off. And we also might have the jib erected with the ball on there. Pay attention to when it says hanging 10 feet below the tip. So if you have a question that says ball hanging 10 feet below the tip, that's going to tell you you're not using the ball, you're using the block. So here are the deductions that we'll make for that. And we have the 22 fly tip stowed on the boom base. So that's basically,
So, do they call the jib the fly tip?
yeah, the jib
Okay.
is the pretty much the boom extension, the fly tip. The fly tip is going to be the little extension. So you have your boom. So right here, you have the 35, 34 offset fly on boom base. So your 34-foot offset fly erected but not being used. Your 56. So that's what it is stowed on the boom base. You see this big weight here, and
Now, is that just the one section or is that both sections connected on the jib?
that's the one section. So you have your boom extension, which is your going to be stowed, or it will tell you if it's erected. The fly is the extra piece that comes out. That's that short little,
The short jib.
yeah.
Okay. So, so the fly is the short jib because I want to know these terms correctly because I've noticed that I've read a couple things that we call it different
Hmm.
than like the proper terminology.
Exactly. You're going to have your infield stuff, and that's what people call it. So don't remember it as jib. Remember it as
Fly tip.
offset fly, stowed on the boom base. Remember it like you're supposed, this terminology, not the field stuff.
Jib equals offset fly. And then little jib equals fly tip.
There you go.
Okay.
So here's your lifting from the 30-foot fly. Here's your, this will be stowed on the boom base. Here's your deduction here. And this is prohibited to use the tip erected but not being used. So you're not going to use that. That's prohibited.
I'm going to try and implement using this terminology instead too. I'm going to stop calling it a jib. I'm going to call it a offset fly.
Yeah, you could call it that. Boom extension. Yeah, but call it what's on this test here. So you got,
So
and when you say offset fly, always throw in a 34-foot offset fly.
oh,
And you have your offsets. Sometimes you have your degrees, but we'll get down to that. Okay, moving along to tire inflation. When you check your tires every day, you should have the make sure you got the correct size on there when you're installing your tires. When you're doing your pick and carry, this 2.5, you don't exceed the 2.5 in
what's
your
the
tire.
like what do you mean?
Like we were talking about earlier, if you're picking an AC unit over the crane, you're not going to go 5 miles an hour. You're not going to go 10 miles an hour. You're going to keep it at 2.5.
Okay.
Basically,
So
like,
that's the speed of the cable.
no, that's the speed of the crane moving.
Oh, if you're carrying something.
Carrying something and you're traveling with a load, you're not going to exceed 2.5 miles an hour.
Got it. Got it.
That's going to cause more pressure on your tires.
Yep, that's why you lose air, as you
Right.
could see.
They'll deflate. You'll see that. So here's your tire pressures, your PSIs that you should always have. It's between 65 and 75. Your Batum loading. So that's
What
your
is
out.
what? Okay, sorry.
Go ahead.
You were about to explain it.
Okay,
What
platoon
punt?
loading. So this is when your platoons are coming down. So that's your cylinders
Outriggers?
that are coming down with your pads. So that's all the pressure that's going into the ground as your platoons are coming down. Those hydraulic beams are the pads. So when you start putting it down, you're going to have a little bit of pressure, and it will go all the way up to 94,000 pounds.
So my outriggers, realistically, instead of outriggers, they're pontoons.
You have your outrigger beams that go out,
Yep.
and your pontoons that go down, and your
Okay.
floats are the and then you have your pads. So the float goes onto the pads. So you got your outrigger beams, platoon, float, pad.
Hold on. So I want to write these down.
Okay.
Outrigger beams. And then you said float.
Float. Yep.
Float is literally the
They'll,
pads itself.
they'll call it a pad, but it's a float. The pad is what you put is touching the ground, the concrete. That's your support.
Extension for pontoons. No way.
And then you have your outrigger spread. You'll have your outriggers all the way out, fully retracted. So that's all the way out. Intermediates, half outriggers. Fully retracted's all the way in. Sorry.
Yep. I knew
Intermediate,
what you meant.
half, and fully extended. Personally, I never run it on halves. Always full.
I've only seen the 100-ton run on halves.
He does it a lot. He's a good experienced operator, and he can do that. But your stability goes down, your chart goes
Yeah,
down.
I've
You can
only
do it.
seen him and Mark do it, honestly.
They do it a lot. Yeah, you gotta have good experience to do that. Okay, here is the range diagram. We're not gonna go. Gonna need to explain this to you in more depth. I'm just gonna go over the basics with this on how to read this. So, starting off with here I have the 85-foot boom highlighted, and is what this is used for is to figure out how high our boom tip is and how much wire rope we have hanging. So if I have a 85-foot boom, and then we go over here, if you look at
Length,
the bottom, here's your feet.
radius,
Yeah, your feet. So if I want to figure out how much line I have put out, and I have 85, so this is your boom height. So with 85 right here, I'm going to draw a straight line. So let's say I'm at 90 feet. So I'm going to go straight across with this 85 because right here, here's the crane with the boom all the way up in the air, 85 feet. So we're going to go straight
That's
across.
95 feet.
Did I say 95 feet? Okay.
No, like so your right side where you have highlighted at 85 feet, that's correctly in line with 95 feet, is what I was saying.
Oh, okay. So
You
85 goes
you'd
with
have
95 feet.
well, it's just it's lined up wrong. So if you just go down one line, you're at 85 feet. If where your mouse is, just move down one line,
Okay.
and that's 85.
Right there. Okay. Huh, that's
Yep.
strange. Okay, so we're going to go across right here. What I say, 90 feet?
Yes, sir.
So we'll go right here to 90 feet, and then we're going to go down. And that's going to give us our boom tip height. So
So
85 foot
so
of
for
boom.
instance, so you got 85-foot boom out at 90 feet, you're at a hold on. Let me look at this real quick. You're pretty much at a 40-degree angle.
40-degree angle. Correct.
Okay.
So that's how we'll use this chart. 85 is at 90, correct. That is at 90, but that's going to tell me I got 90 foot of rope hanging. So this chart is pretty much how we figure out how much wire rope we're going to have hanging because you're going to have to make a deduction for 1 pound. Go ahead, write this down. 1 pound
One
is one
pound
foot. So
is
every foot of wire rope you have out
1 pound.
is 1 pound.
That's okay. So every foot is 1 pound. Sorry, I'm writing this down.
Okay, go ahead. And I don't want to go too deep into this chart because this takes a lot of explaining.
Well, I'll be honest. This is something I look at on a daily basis. I'm looking at a chart like this every single day because I personally like to quiz myself in a sense. So if I'm doing an AC unit, I got 90 foot of stick out. I'm at a 36-degree angle. I want to see what my radius is because I just kind of test myself while I'm in the field. It's like OJT right there.
Okay, good, good.
Because I for my crane for the boom truck, it's literally my sticks are right here. My chart is right here. So I look at it constantly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right.
So know
So
this chart. That's good that you're studying it. A lot of people have problems when it comes to this working range diagram. So we'll go more into depth and I'll break it down on, with the certain problems once we get a problem and I'll show you more in depth on that. So here's boom mode A. And pay attention to this. So when we're reading the chart, we're going to look at boom mode A in the corner. Now, if you go down, you're going to have boom mode A here again. So we're
but
going to
it's
look
different. It's of some sort. It has a different configuration.
exactly. You have your 35.5 to 45 foot of main boom.
That's like one section.
Exactly. So we'll have, let's say we want to know our 35.5. And you look here too,
It's fully
outriggers, see the
extended.
black, fully extended. We have our load radius in feet, 10 feet, your boom angle, your 360-degree chart,
Okay.
and then over the front. So this is pretty much the whole thing with the over the front, and then this is exactly a chart for just over the front. And then you'll have the same thing for the 45, you'll have another chart.
hmm
And you see this,
So
go ahead.
your logbook gives you absolutely every single configuration that is possible with the crane, correct?
Yes, load chart.
Load chart. Sorry. Because like I'm seeing up in this diagram up in the right, there is a time where you could use the crane without having your outriggers extended, or you really never ever ever want to do that.
You can do that. You're going to use your on rubber chart. So when we get down to the bottom, I'll show you your on rubber chart, and that's
Okay.
your picking capacities just on your tires.
Okay.
And if the crane's not, if you don't have that 1 inch clearance and all your tires are touching, you're on your rubber chart. You're not on this chart. So you
Okay.
got to make sure your tires are off the ground.
10-4.
Okay, same thing. Boom mode A again. So here's your boom mode A and down. And you see this shaded area?
Yep.
This is your structural chart. Under that is your stability chart. So you watch
But
this line, we're
so
gonna go
when you
ahead.
say structural chart, what is elaborate?
Structural chart, like I was telling you earlier, when you're make overloading the crane, your structural components are going to fail probably most likely in most cases before you tip the crane. So that boom is going to buckle basically if you
Okay.
overpick. If you come over here to 60.3 and I'm picking over the front at 55 feet and I'm picking,
29,700 pounds, you could buckle the crane.
yeah, I could buckle it at, yeah, you're gonna start buckling it right there. Exactly.
Okay.
You go over that, you're heading for structural
Damage.
damage. And your chart, you've got a little margin of error of like 15%.
Well,
So
yeah, between 24,000 and 29,000, you have that little gray area, but you never want to test that gray area.
no, don't. This is where you stay in the zone. So once you push it past that, your whole crane will fall apart. If you go on YouTube and look up crane accidents, this shit happens all the time. Because people not reading their load chart, just using their computer to make a pick, not going to their load chart to check to see if they could do the pick. They just start picking up. Well, let's see what happens. Am I going to tip? Oh no, I got this. It's not going to tip, and your crane's going to fall apart because it
Yeah.
can't handle the load. You're not going to tip. You're going to buckle the crane, and you got a huge accident. You got OSHA out there. They're coming out when cranes go down. Injuries, all kinds of shit could happen. So you have your computer your LMI that's gonna tell you what you can do after you got the weight in the air. You need to know before you make the pick, can I do this pick? In that case, you'll get a line out and a tape, and you're gonna tape it off. Is this 30 feet from your crane? And check all this before you do the pick. You're not just going to say, "Oh, somebody told me I could do it, so I'm going to do it." You as a crane operator are responsible to go to your load chart, make your deductions before the pick, and make sure you can do it.
So I I like my whatever. For instance, I pull up to a job and my so if I'm lifting an AC unit's 25,000 pounds, and I need to figure out if what the radius is
Mhm.
before making the pick is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay.
You're going to measure everything with a tape. If you don't have a tape, you could walk it off. That's another method, but you're
Mark
supposed to
wants
use
me
a
to get
tape.
that crane app.
You could get the crane app and measure it from the satellite. And that way it's kind of hard to go on a roof, get your AC unit, walk to the edge of the roof, then pop that measurement, then go to your center rotation of accident. Your accuracy is going to go down a little bit, but you just want to get in the ballpark. You can get that app, and it draws you a nice straight line, and you know exactly. That's the
Okay.
best. But you need to check that. The AC guys aren't going to tell you. Nobody's going
Absolutely
to tell
not.
you. You tip that crane, you're the dumbass, not them. That's how it goes, man. Okay, so we covered boom mode A, boom mode B. You see our structural charts going up a little bit. Now we got more structural. So pretty much the same thing. Fully out. We see our outriggers are fully
Yeah.
out. And we've got 35, 45, 55. Same thing. Now
Well,
65, 75, 85. Go ahead.
what's the difference between why is there a boom mode A and a boom mode B?
Different configurations. So here's your different lengths of boom. So look, if you look here, these are just different configurations.
Okay, so boom mode A goes from 35 and a half feet to 60 feet only, and then anything after that is boom mode B.
Yes, exactly. I think that crane is all pretty much running boom mode B all the time. You'll probably never put it in A. Intersections, only inner and mid section telescopes, inner, mid, outer mid, and tip sections telescoping simultaneously.
Okay, I got it. And now I understand it.
Okay. Here's boom mode B, so you got all that. Now we're boom mode B. So here's your chart for 95 to 110. See your outriggers are still there, fully out.
Yeah.
Now we're going to get to the flies.
Okay.
I've got this highlighted up top. 1% offset, 15% offset, 30% offset. And if we go now, we're using pay attention on the test. You really got to stop, slow down, and pay attention to what fly you have on there because you've got your 56 fly and
Or
your
34.
34-foot fly. So you get in a rush on this test and you'll be looking at your 56 fly when the question asks for your 34-foot fly. Just What I'm saying, just always pay attention and make sure you're looking at the right chart because the answer for the 56 fly is going to be on the question. They know they're going to have the wrong answers there on the test because they know you're looking at the long chart. Now you see our 34 offset with 85 foot of main boom. So we're going to pay attention to all this stuff on the test and always make sure we're using our fully outriggers. And you look here, we got our 1% offset chart, 15% offset, and 30-degree offset. So you're going to go here and look at what offset you're using.
1 degree, what does that mean? There's nothing. What's the 1 degree?
So you're going to put your jib, you're going to put your 34 offset fly on there, and you're going to just put it at a little bit of an offset. So you can increase your radius. If you're getting an AC unit on the roof, that's going to give you a little bit more
So
length.
I wish I looked at what degree because we had to do it once. Me, Torio, and Mark, we had to put his jib on and we had to put an offset on it. I just wish I remembered or looked at the degree of the offset so I knew.
Next time you're doing something like that, pay more attention to what's going on and it will make sense.
Yeah, that was when I was still fresh too, but
Okay,
it's something to pay attention to.
exactly. Now you'll be more keen to it.
Yeah.
30-degree offset, it's going to give you a little bit more, radius. Feet, 56 offset fly, same thing. We're just, which one are we using? The 34 or the 56? Pay
Yep.
attention. 34 offset. So now we've got 110 foot of main boom versus 85.
Yep.
Using the offset again. Here's our degrees, 30%, pay attention on the chart. Same thing. So you really just, is what I'm saying here, is just pay attention to this chart. And I do not have the on rubber chart on here. I need to go through and get that. Let me see here. So you'll have an on rubber chart too, which I don't have on this slide. Okay, so just learn this chart, learn to navigate all of this. Really good. Any other questions on the load chart besides for that top part that I
Are
need to
you
look
able to
into?
find some quiz questions for me on load charts, basically on the ones you're showing me?